Well, hello, everybody out there in real estate marketing show land. Oh, my
Good thing
God.
we're recording too.
Yeah, what did he do? Oh, my God. You guys could probably tell we have a fun guest today. Julie Odell, my fantastic co-host. How you doing today?
Very well.
Julie!
That's
Yes.
David Serpa yelling in the background. Welcome to episode 35. So I think things are going to get a
Hello.
little crazy today, but I think this will be probably one of the most beneficial podcasts anybody building a team in real estate or who would like to know about building a team or perhaps futuristically plans to build a team. You know, one of the things we learned from our coaches these days, if you're not on a team or building a team, you're not going to be in the business these days.
Hell yeah.
So, David Serpa, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I do have to correct you on one thing. You said that this is going to be one of the most beneficial, and I think it's probably going to be the most beneficial
Yes, and I love that
podcast for
attitude.
team leads.
Team leads. I love it. You're my man. Okay, so backstory, how I met David. I met David in Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia.
And it took a couple days for us to figure each other out, spy on each other a little bit, and then all of a sudden we hit it off good. We traveled the country. I tried to suck him into doing a little REO stuff with me. We had a good time in Dallas, and we've been in San Diego.
We got turned up.
Yeah.
Every time we see each other, we get turned up.
We've been everywhere.
Together with Mike Bjorkman just to have a vanilla time. I mean, come on. So we had a good time in Dallas. We had a good time in, I don't know,
Everywhere.
Anaheim with the Club Wealth thing.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's every time I see it, it gets sexy.
So all right. Well, so David and I become intimate on a couple different levels. Not only a deep friendship, but also we talk to each other a lot about business, and we have a lot of trust and admiration for each other. I think I can speak for you on that part. You know, what I wanted to do was give you a little bit of props and a shout out and let everybody know what kind of man I'm talking about. And I wanted to talk specifically for 2 seconds about your military background so people can, first of all, see how crazy you are because of that. And tell me about what you've done for our country so I could really salute you.
Yeah, so I served with 1st Battalion, 1st Marines in Afghanistan, and I was a machine gunner. And yeah, I had a good time. I went to Afghanistan with the Sherban Cowboys and the Helmand River Valley and in Afghanistan. And yeah, I enjoyed being a Marine. I'm glad to be done with being in the Marine Corps, and but it was a real great experience. And then recently I got honored as veteran of the game at Dodger Stadium, and I got to bring my family out, and my son, who was born when I was in Afghanistan, actually got a chance to see Dad up in the dress blues on Dodger Stadium, and so it's been
Love
it was
that.
real cool.
Man, those pictures actually brought tears to my eyes. I don't know if I've really talked to you about that since I was
Thank you,
able
brother.
to see them. When you and I did your podcast, that was the night of, I believe, and or was it the day after, the day before? I don't know, but either way, we didn't get a chance to see the pictures, and then you went home and I saw the pictures, and I was like blown away. So
Yeah.
I speak for everybody that I know, that I associate with, that are actually true blue Americans, and we thank you very much deeply for your service.
Thank you, brother.
Do you want to say anything about how you met David, Julie? Anything
Oh,
that sticks out in your mind?
I'll get embarrassed, but
Come on, do it, Julie.
I have real estate crushes,
Oh, real estate
but in a
crush.
very professional real estate kind of way because I usually stalk on social media people that I see that are doing well, and I think because we're involved in Club Wealth, we started to see your stuff come on, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, look!" And I kept showing him, and he was like, "I know him. I know David.
Oh,
I
that's
know."
right. That's right. She didn't know our
I
background.
didn't know everybody knew
Yeah.
each other until Anaheim, and that's yes.
I never let her into my travel world until that.
And then we got to hang out in Anaheim.
Then
It was
she's
a
like,
blast.
holy
I
crap.
technically wasn't even allowed there. I had my.
Yeah.
I
She went on
figured
her
out
own,
my
man.
own.
She just showed up there. And-
Well, then I won't say anything then about us hanging out in Anaheim.
All right, and then you know what? The same disclaimer I made last week for Mike Cuevas, I'll make this week. Sometimes we try to filter everything out, cuss word wise, but I bet you David's going to try hard to be filtered. But if something slips out, we apologize ahead of time. If any F words come out or anything like
I'll keep
that.
it clean.
So yeah, if you guys think that you couldn't handle maybe a crap fly out, you might as well just delete this.
There's this
episode.
great Avett Brothers song where he says, I'm talking to these children and I'm keeping it clean. I don't need those words to say what I mean. And I think you need to, you pick your audience and you decide where you are and you figure it out from there. And if you say that this is a no cussing show, I'm going to give it to you, big dog.
Awesome. So the episode that I did with David just came out, and I know if you're listening to this 2 years from now, it doesn't matter. But David, how do they find our episode? Because if you ever wanted to get intimate with Mike Bjorkman's life, somehow, some way, David Serpa pulled it out of me, and then you get to know me from being a little kid until who I am today. So how do they find that if they wanted to see that?
So if you're interested, and we just released it recently, and it is our 4th episode of It's About More Than Real Estate with David Serpa. And what it is we dive into so much more than real estate. We like to talk to successful people and find out what makes successful people successful. We're trying to hack the algorithms of life, find out how people find balance, what their backstory is. It's just a series of me talking to people that I find incredibly interesting. Most shows run from an hour to an hour and a half, so it's a great way to spend some time. And we talk a lot about real estate, or a little bit about real estate, but mainly we talk about the successful people that are flourishing in real estate. And Mike Bjorkman's episode was a blast because we got a chance to talk about being Jedis and wearing leopard print suits and you getting paid like a CEO and all these different things that you do in your business that make it so unique. We got a chance to kind of bring that to the spotlight and the way that you conduct yourself as a father.
Yeah, no, and it's real, it's raw, and I guarantee you there's a couple F-bombs in that one. So go ahead over to Serpa's website and podcast, download that, subscribe it, because I've listened to 3 of them now. Obviously, I'm trying to get through mine, and they're fantastic, amazing people. So if you're a real estate agent out there, make sure you're all over that podcast, because I always tell people you need 1 hour a day of skill set. And I think if you took our podcast, mixed them up, and mixed up some of your other favorite trainers, you will always be successful in this business. So let's jump into this.
Let's do it.
So here's the deal. So you got out of the military within, I think it was 30 days. You'd sold 7 houses, or 60 days, something like that. And I have to hear about your jump start into real estate. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but I just want people to really realize the impact that you made on your real estate community right after you got out of the military.
So I got into real estate a few months after I got out of the Marine Corps, and in my 2nd month, I opened 7 escrows and made $35,000, which was more than I made the year prior getting shot at. And so it was one of those things that I thought that I was going to do to kind of subsidize my GI Bill and get paid a little bit of money while I was going to school. And it ended up being something that it just made a lot of sense to me. So I started a team 11 months into getting started. 6 out of 6, 100% of the agents that have been with me for over 18 months have made over $100,000 in the last year. And now we have 27 agents on our team.
Okay, you shush right now. All right, you jumped
slow
way
down,
ahead.
Ricky.
All right, so let me point something out, and because you're such a rock star, you don't even freaking realize what you just said. So David Serpa, most agents, do not start a real estate team in their first year of the business. They take 3 to 5 years to figure themselves out, to get a handle on the business. They might hire an assistant, and then eventually 7 to 10 years in start building teams. Now, you built a team in freaking under a year. Tell me what got that mindset going, and give me a little synopsis on how the hell that happened, because honestly, most agents can't or won't do that.
So I think a big part of that does come from having a Marine Corps background, and I think that when you get out of that tribe atmosphere where the person on the left and the person on the right of you is willing to take a bullet for you, and then you get out there into the world, and especially in real estate where everyone's an independent contractor and no one's really looking out for you, no one really has any skin in the game and looking out for you, a lot of times even your own broker. So I kind of got sick of feeling disposable, which is what we do so well in Western culture, is making people feel like they are so easily replaced. And I think that throughout the course of my career, I've been very fortunate in finding other people that have been a little bit disenchanted by the process. And the first was Rob Morrow, who is also a Marine Corps veteran. And so we got a chance to kind of set up that atmosphere together and the rest is the rest. I don't want to get too far ahead again.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get there. So tell me a little bit about like maybe your first couple agents. Where'd you find them? How'd you find them? Who gets to join the David Serpa team? I mean,
Yeah, and what's their responsibilities?
yeah, I've heard other interviews with you, and you and I have had many of nights sitting around chatting, and it's kind of fascinating to me that you don't mind training new agents. You prefer new licensees. We talk about not having warm bodies, but people that you actually connect with. And
Yep.
you can finish that. I guess I just said it.
Absolutely, brother. I mean, like culture, you can't fake culture. It's either something that you have or you don't. And I think that up there on Team Bjorkman, you guys get it. And what Julie said, she absolutely. What are their jobs? And I think that a big part of what we're doing that's a little bit differently than what a lot of teams are doing is we are trying to really honor people's designs. And we don't want our agents that are supposed to be out there selling houses. We don't want them making a bunch of phone calls, and we don't want them working on their own marketing, and we don't want them on video. And so we try to put the right people in the right places every step of the way and really figure out who they are as people so that we don't have a high I personality being bogged down by contracts. So we're super protective over our team. We typically only hire about once a year, and that's in around October, November timeframe. And at this point, because I have so many agents on my team that have broken that six-figure mark, they are now coaching and kind of sponsoring on anybody that comes on. And until they each have 4 people that are up and performing, we don't expand. And so we have a couple of people that are on the fastest track to becoming six-figure agents ever on our team in our whole 3-year history, and we got a couple people that are looking like they might make it in under a year. So once that happens, then they'll have an opportunity to bring on some people and kind of help coach them, so that I am not bogged down by constantly coaching every single new agent that we bring on.
Yeah, and we're going to get to that later. So I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of the team. So now, and you said in our whole 3-year history, my God, I mean.
I know. I'm going to start cursing like French. What you just talked about? That's
most
insane.
Real estate testicles haven't even dropped yet in 3 years. So I mean, honestly, dude. So
we're trying to do our best.
But we got to really get in deeper here. Like, dude, you don't just get to start a team. Who taught you that? Where do you find your mindset? And I mean, what you're talking about is very sophisticated for a real estate agent. Some of the newer agents on here are like, what do you mean a person on your team doesn't get to be on video?
Yeah.
A high I and we don't, and we want them to by design.
Oops, my bad.
I mean, that's really cool. I mean, those are the types of things we need to hear. Like, not only who gets on your team, but what does the interview process look like? What are their job responsibilities? And
so I think that a big team is kind of where to start. And I have a video that I have on my YouTube channel about how to build a team, when to start a team. But I think that people are so caught up in how sexy it is to start a real estate team, and how cool it is to say, oh, I run a real estate team, that they're starting it way, way, way too early. And realistically, I probably started mine a little early as well, but we really believed in each other, and it was just kind of one of those things that it was the right place at the right time. But you really have to decide when is the right time to start a real estate team. And really the only time to really start a team and the only time to continue to build a team is when you have more business than you can handle effectively.
That's a great point. And then that's what I tell agents, man. When you stare at the ceiling at night and go, okay, I have 50 million things to do tomorrow. I can't sleep. I might as well get up right now and start working on stuff. I mean, that is absolutely. Or when you start taking referrals and not calling them back, right? People are trying to refer you. You're just like, dude, I don't have time to call that person back.
When you start looking at it, you're like, I'm actually losing money by not adding people to my team. That's when you should be like, okay, it's time.
And I like how you put that.
It's a risk, you know what I mean? And it's going to be a risk no matter when you do it. And I think a big part of the reason why my team is maybe, and there's several reasons why I think that my team has probably been successful when other teams have not. When I expand, I expand. Like if I decide I'm not going to work with buyers anymore, and that was one of the first things that I did, I 100% did not work with buyers. And it did not matter if it was somebody that I went to war with. It didn't matter if it was my best friend's mom. It didn't matter if it was a $1.5 million buyer. I was referring them out.
Tell us about why. Most agents can't comprehend what you're saying.
Well, the thing is there's a scarcity mindset that most team leads have, and that is, well, things can never get any better than what they are right now, so I have to hold on to it. And I think that energy, like money, like opportunity, the more that you give it away, the more that you spread it around, the more that you invest it, the more that it will come back in spades. And so, for me to have a $1.2 million buyer when I've never even worked with $1 million buyer, and referring that to my team. I have to say, hey, you know what? There are more opportunities coming out to me or coming to me that I can afford to refer this out to my team. And then my team looks at the fact that I didn't cherry pick a buyer, and they're like, hey, David really actually means what he says. It's no bull crap, and he is not going to be cherry picking anyone from us.
That's sweet. Okay, what does the interview process look like for this team agent?
So it's been different for each evolutionary process. The first set of interviews that I did, I kind of would only pick or interview people that I already had a feeling were going to be a good fit for the team. But the second, I always ask that people do a disc profile, and then I ask for a cover letter, because you want to have the entry level high enough to where there is already some disqualifications for being lazy. If someone's not going to draft up a cover letter, then I don't want them on my team. And some people say, well, I can't even get people to show up to an interview. And then that's a different process altogether for somebody like that. You're going to have to find a reason to get people in through the front door. And so a big part of what I have been helping other agents to brainstorm on is how to hire buyer's agents when they don't necessarily have the cool factor that that Mike Bjorkman might have, or that David Serpa has.
Well, but even if you have the cool factor, where are you finding people? Like, are you just you meet them at Starbucks, or are they already agents, or are you
Craigslist.
real estate school? Are you
Casual encounters?
I know Facebook, but still.
So,
are you doing group interviews? Like, are you putting that out there, videos?
Yes.
And
Well, you did a huge one,
Right.
and you had like 11 hires from one of those,
I
and that's
did.
the one that
So
I want
I
to
did
know
11
more
hires for my last one. And so the way that I did that was I had my six-figure agents, I had them come in, and they actually were the ones that conducted the interviews. I came in, and what I did was I walk out, I introduce everyone, I give or introduce myself, I introduce the company, I tell them what we do, what separates ourselves from other people and other teams. And then what we do is we basically have everyone stay in that room with me, and I hang out, and I'm kind of doing my own mental notes, and I'm taking my own questions and whatnot. And then our operations manager was escorting people back to interview with my six-figure agents and my operations manager.
that's the casting couch.
That's the casting couch, brother. You got like five on one, and they gotta sit back and freaking show that they can do it
That's
before they show up.
honestly that's worse than cursing.
What's worse than
Don't point
cursing?
things out. You roll with it, let it slide. Nobody
Go on.
caught that.
Go on.
What are you talking about, Julie?
He comes from a background of movies, so it's okay. All right, so let's hold on, slow down.
Just stop.
Okay, so these are so for those of you guys that don't know, we can see each other. We're on Skype. We're recording it for our YouTube channel, and he's totally messing with her. If you're listening at home, just go with it. All right, so here's so now what kind of, I don't want to get into a disc personality class. I want to know
Okay.
I want to know exactly who you're looking for and why, and then we move on from there.
Without disc.
Yes, I want to know
Okay.
the disc.
So
High I's, high D's, high S's, high C's.
But a C personality for my buyer's agents. That's D-I-N-S. I'm not looking for a C. I'm not going to explain everything because you told me not to explain everything.
Nope, I don't care.
More important than that, I'm looking for people that fit my culture. I'm looking for good people that have the ability to become great agents. I'm not necessarily worried about hiring an experienced agent.
What makes them qualified in your mind to somebody who has the ability to be a great agent?
They have to have a good, compelling reason. So if somebody doesn't have kids, or if somebody doesn't have a good reason for why they want to do well in real estate, I'm kind of looking for what their dark corners are. I'm kind of looking for what's mixed up about them, like what and how that will benefit or hurt them in their real estate career. Because I'm a strong believer in learning who people are early, so that you can start practicing sales therapy, which I think is the only way that you can really get somebody to actually sell, is to get them out of their own damn way.
Fantastic. I love that answer. All right. So when you decide or discuss with the group interviewer why your team is better or different, give me a taste of what that might look like.
Okay, so one of the first things that I ask people during my interviews, I say, are you easily offended? And if you're easily offended, this isn't the right place for you. I say, are you offended by drug use? And they say, well, what kind of drugs? And I'm like, get the hell out. You know what I mean? So if anybody balks at anything that I bring up during the interview process, and I don't care what it is, they're probably not a good fit, because I used to work really hard to like keep it clean and like get everybody on my team to really like play nice in the sandbox and all that good stuff. But the thing is, the more you get out of your team's way, as long as they're the right people, they're going to foster and build that culture that they helped create.
Oh, so fucking great. All right, so here we go. So the evolution of the team, I want to talk about a little bit how you got up to 3-4 agents, and now we have to go, oh my God, we need lead gen. What lead gen systems are you using? I mean, how many open houses do they have to do? Are you buying leads? Are you who gets the sign calls and the leads?
You would have to speak, if you wanted a really good in-depth answer, you'll have to speak to my partner, Rob Morrow, on this. Rob is the guy that I started this team with, and Rob has ownership in the team because he runs our marketing and our lead gen. But what I can tell you, because I don't understand a whole lot about the internet because I'm an old man, and I hardly figured out the Facebook. Anyway, I finally got on MySpace, updated my top 8, everyone was gone. But
trying to get your Skype account was a little difficult. I gotta be honest.
I had to create a Skype for you.
Thanks, man. Well, now you see how cool it is.
So Rob, he runs the marketing, and what we do is we use Commissions Inc. and their landing pages to help promote those through secondary social media platforms in order to increase our lead gen.
Okay, so that's where I wanted to go. So if you had to say, what else do we do? Is it just Commissions Inc. all you know? Is that?
So I know Commissions Inc., but the big part of what we're doing right now is we are building a internet web. We're building a series of evergreen content that will always be out there that are attracting different types of people to our business for different reasons, so that once that content is created, it is out there forever. And by doing that through YouTube, doing that through podcasts, doing that through flyers and banners, but just creating a bunch of different media that we can continue to use over and over and over again that will always be out there in the atmosphere through blogs, podcasts, and video.
Okay, so you are making killer landing pages and marketing those and picking up the ads. All right, bitchin'. You hear that?
Hell yeah.
Okay. All right, so that was just a very specific one for her. The evolution. Okay. Now we're at the size of 27 people, 3 years later.
Yes, sir.
How is that management structure? You kind of got into it a little bit. One agent had to have 4 agents. What if they don't want to coach 4 agents? You know, tell me a little bit.
They don't have to at all.
Okay, tell me how that looks at this size. What level of
what I am
activity are
doing
you
on this
in?
team is I'm honoring people's designs. If they don't want to do a daily coaching call with a team, they don't need to. If they just want to be a great buyer's agent, they do the great buyer's agent stuff. I have 2 agents on my team that are buyer's agents that are going to make between $200,000 and $400,000 this year. So it's not like it's not that's not a financially beneficial gig to be at on this team. But the other thing is it's a way for me to create additional revenue source for people doing things that they're already doing anyway. So I get off of my conference call at 7:40, and then I've got my coaches that are now running their conference call immediately following my call, with all the people that were listening to my call that are new agents that are listening to me talk to our older agents. It sounds very crazy, but it's just basically, it makes it so that everyone is starting their day with me at 7:40 saying, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and all that good stuff, and getting everybody pumped up. And then I cut them loose. They log onto a call with their team lead, and then they have a 1 minute or a 30-minute coaching session with them a month. So it's all about delegation. And I think that the more you can delegate, the more that you can free yourself up to do the things that you do well.
Amazing.
Preach. That's a good one for you.
So here's what we need to talk about. If I didn't mention it before, I apologize, everybody. So David Serpa's in Temecula, California. What is your average price range there?
Well, I'm about Temecula Murrieta, $385,000 approximately.
Okay, so it's a good price range, and I'm sure people listening to this, if I didn't say before, they're like, where the hell is this guy from? So I wanted to point that out, and we'll have to remember to put that in the show notes. All right.
Crazy construction, crazy development, crazy job growth. I mean, that market is just
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic market, and I have several friends out there. And I'm just like blown away how much business you guys are doing. All right, so let's talk about your brokerage setup. Do you work
Okay.
for a big brokerage? Do you work for a little brokerage? Who's the broker?
So I actually I stepped down as an owner of a co-owner of a brokerage 3 weeks ago, and a co-owner of an escrow company as well. And so now I still hang my license at that brokerage. I don't know for how much longer. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I've been getting a lot of crazy offers, but right now I'm just kind of sitting back and I'm trying to decide what the next move looks like for myself and for the homes team.
Cool. So as a broker of a couple hundred agents, I highly recommend you love these 27 people with all your heart. I'm just kidding. That's good. No, my Home Smart agents are pretty realistically are loyal to this podcast, so I like to poke digs at them sometimes. Love you guys.
Yeah. And the thing is, I've hung out with your team.
Oh yeah.
I hung out with that crew. It's a good group. And the thing is culture is not something that you can replace. It's not something that you want to build from square one. So, if I turn things to a vote on my team all the time, I do not go against the vote. I listen to my team. I look to them for counsel. They have been there with me through everything. They've been with me through building this from the beginning. They went with me when I overexpanded and almost cost us everything. They were with me through a divorce. Through 5 different brokerages. These people freaking love me. They're loyal to me. I love them. I'm loyal to them, and I want them to make as much money as possible and live their lives in balance. And I think that they honestly believe and they know that they will get higher with me and I will get higher with them financially.
Beautiful.
Sure.
Kumbaya. So here's a question that I get asked all the time. Mike, I want to join your team. What are some of the reasons that I would join your team? And what are some of the reasons? Let's put this a different way. If somebody came to you, ran into you down at Pachanga or whatever, and they said, hey, dude, I want to talk to you about Mike Bjorkman's team. I'm thinking about joining it. Why would I or wouldn't I join a team? Because there's a lot of people that are going to listen to this, probably in the thousands, are going to say, I don't know if I should be on a team. Am I a team?
Are you looking for me to give Team Bjorkman an endorsement? Is that what you're looking for?
No. Okay, yes and no. Any team, though. Like if an agent came to you and said, should I be on a team? That's
yeah,
kind
so,
of what I'm...
I think that's a great question. I think that it's one of those things where you really have to decide, who am I? And then you got to start from there. What do I want? And if what you're looking for is to get your feet wet on a team, if what you're looking for is to kind of learn the ropes so that you could go out and start your own team, then you should probably just go out and start your own team. But if what you're looking for is a tribe, if what you're looking for is a family, if you're looking for people that will share the last of their food, that will help you when you need help, then you need to look for a team. And you need to look for the right team, because unfortunately, I would say more teams are predatory than are good in nature.
True. Very true. What is the average time an agent stays on your team?
Most people don't leave. So I guess you'll have to check back with me in a couple of years when people start leaving. But we lost one 6-figure agent who went and started her own team. And then other than that, we haven't really lost anybody that's been with us for more than a couple months. Typically, if they make it past that probationary period, they stick around. I can't, other than the gal that went and started her own team, I can't think of anyone that's been with me for more than a few months that's left. We've got kind of a cool thing going, Mike Bjorkman.
I know, I love it. I am so proud of you. I'm going to duplicate some of these efforts that you're doing. All right, so
Cool.
So when an agent, because here's what agents say sometimes when they want to join my team or join a team, they go, I just want to be able to go farther in life in my real estate career, and I want to be able to do things. And I think what you're doing with these 6-figure agents is I think they might be coaching, helping the other agents, getting a piece of the pie and furthering their ability to have predictable monthly cash flow, little special perks.
So, yeah, they get 5% of my split for anyone that they bring onto the team that they coach. And the thing is they're capped at 4. So I'm not looking at developing a pyramid scheme. I'm not looking at expanding my team well beyond freaking, what I want to expand it to. Like unless you have made 6 figures on this team, you cannot bring anyone else in. And until you get to a point to where you bring in 6 figures and you could launch 4 people on your team, until they start performing, you don't add more. So this is 100% performance based. It is 100% about meritocracy. And so I celebrate the people that have helped create the systems that they are existing in.
Man, you've really learned how to speak well.
Thank you.
I can't even repeat what you just said. Here, let me just be on your podcast
You're
again.
the sweetest.
All right, so talk to me about. I'm trying to. All right, so you don't know a lot about the lead gen. Is there a system in place that you're aware of that caps them out at a certain amount of leads? Is there? I'm trying to find out what their day
what's
looks
wild
like.
is that my team is actually, I have several of them that will turn off their own leads. They'll say, "Can you turn off my leads?" Because Rob is doing such a great job generating leads that he's generating between 3 and 5 leads a day for each one of my agents. So that'll be something that you'd have to talk to him about more. But like, so for example, right now, just off the top of my head, Jamie, Damian, Zach, and Rob all have their leads off as of this morning. They're so busy that they can't handle more leads, and they don't want to be taking good leads away from other people on the team that could be closing them.
That's amazing,
That's
and
awesome.
that is a good culture
Thank
to
you.
have. So if you guys are looking to join a Temecula team, it's going to be that October, November time, and they're going to be expanding here soon. Talk to me about open houses. How critical are open houses to your business right now? And what
We just did an expansion, so we probably will not be expanding for a while. But people are always welcome to follow me on Facebook, and if we do, we'll definitely post it.
No,
Open
you said
houses are
October,
huge for us.
November. It's not October yet. You dang it, you hired.
Yeah, well, we just did it last month.
I'm messing with you.
Because I had all these 6-figure agents already, and I decided to go ahead and do it now. But anyway, so open houses are huge for us. This is something that we kind of touched on our podcast when you were on. I love open houses. I think that the only reason why you can't close a lead at the open house is because you don't know how to close a lead at an open house.
Right.
I think that most agents don't know what they don't know. And so they step out the front door. They're surrounded by a million other negative agents in the office that are all telling them that open houses don't work. And I always tell people, open houses don't work when agents don't work. Open houses work when agents work. You show up on Wednesday, and I got out of the Marine Corps with a reconstructed and fused ankle, and I was hanging 400 flyers on Wednesday before my open houses, and then doing them Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 10 to 6 until my pipeline filled up. And you know how freaking long it took for my pipeline to fill up? About 3 freaking weeks.
Right.
So all these people that they talk about, oh, well, nobody shows up to open houses. Well, what'd you do to get people there? Did you put up 5 signs and not put up any flyers and then show up 5 minutes before? Good luck.
All right. So for those of you listening, we have part 1 and 2 on this podcast of open houses. There's everything you need to know to learn how to do an unbelievable open house. I mean, one of my favorite things that David has said is after a couple months, I didn't have to do another open house ever again as long as I lived. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
that is, and I look back at my career too, David, and I go, man, without podcasts, without open houses, I don't think I would have made it. I really don't. And I was doing other people's open houses. I was advertising other people's listings.
Darn right.
And it was so fast and so furious. But I didn't stop them for, I did them much longer than you because I was just so easy. I'm like, I need 3 buyers this weekend. Let's go do an open house. I want to get a listing this weekend. Let's go do an open house. I mean, if I didn't have, 4 or 5 sales and 4 open houses, I was like, what am I doing wrong? I guess I was off that day.
Well, and you know what? You get an education.
Absolutely.
You get an education and work in open houses. I never held an open house with anybody else. I never sat in on anyone else's open house. I just did it. And I did it, and I did it, and I did it. And then soon enough, you start realizing that what people are looking for. You start reading people's body language, and you start understanding just how to provide value to them so that they don't just walk in and say, oh, I have an agent, and then just sprint through the open house and then walk out through the front door. And the next thing you know, you had 37 people through your open house, but 45 of them had an agent.
Right, exactly. And dude, oh my God, I just want to just put this in my people's ears right now. All right, so let me ask you a question. You do unbelievable marketing, as well as you know how, as much as I can. So we're doing the drone videos, the interior videos. I don't know if you're still doing the voiceovers, but I'll never figure out how you did that. But I mean, it's just really good marketing. And I think I wanted to ask, if a team lead or a team listing agent is doing good marketing, do you believe that all that is important to actually really drive the leads, quality leads to the team?
Absolutely. I think so the thing is you have to do what you do well. And so if what you are is you're an internet guy and you're gonna do really good at creating internet leads and you know how to write good ads, write good ads. If you're great on video, get on video. If you can't create the content but you're good on video, collaborate with somebody on creating content. Like the thing is you just have to do something. And I think that we get so caught up in what the right thing is to do that we are paralyzed in doing anything at all. And perfectionism leads to procrastination, which leads to paralysis. And if you are so paralyzed by being perfect that you do nothing, then you're going to look back at the end of this year and just look at it as a one big wasted opportunity. So I think no matter what that is, just do something.
Amen, brother.
That's my favorite.
All right, so talk to me about your thoughts on expansion teams. So you're in Temecula, you got 27 agents. Have you ever thought, maybe I'll go over to San Diego. Maybe I'll throw one of these in Riverside. What are your thoughts on expansion teams and your ability?
No, I'm not big on the expansion team thing. I think, so this is what I love about expansion teams. It's a bunch of agents that are pretty good in their local market, hoping to get kind of good somewhere else. So you get a bunch of kind of good expansion teams that are kind of good all over the place that are all at a less than a 1% market share. Why would I not completely obliterate the hell out of my market, completely over-inundate it with myself, my face, my brand, and my team so that I get a 10% market share? Because wouldn't a 10% market share in my own market be so much better than a bunch of less than 1% market shares all over the country with a bunch of people with high turnovers that I'm not seeing regularly? So I don't completely understand the expansion model on a long-term basis for me. My goal is, and I'm thinking I might just start the largest brokerage in Southern California. I might start a production company, and that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, create media, create content around fantastic agents. And then that way people don't need all this other crap. They don't need all this other crap. They need people doing well for them what they can't do well for themselves. And what is the number one thing that agents can't do well for themselves? They have no idea how to create content. They have no idea how to put themselves out there. We have a bunch of extraordinarily talented agents who would show up extraordinarily well on camera, who could carry a show, who could carry a podcast, who are fun to talk to, that just can't create their own content. So I want to create content around fantastic agents and in a larger brokerage setting. And then instead of me being one agent who's constantly, shining my star and then trying to get a bunch of other people that are in cities that will never meet me or will meet me a couple times a year to do it for me, I would rather be shining a bunch of other people's star, putting them in the spotlight, and then talking about how great all these other agents are, and build that up instead of the other way.
Right.
So.
Dude, and I love asking that question to agents because some are like all about it, and I think the ones that are really all about it are the ones that are living in price ranges where they can't get up to where they want to be. So like, hey, let's buy leads in Beverly Hills where there's $4 million, leads coming in. So I like what you said. It makes a lot of sense.
Or buy leads in, Hemet, or like some area where the leads are going to be super cheap so that they could feed some buyer's agents.
I was just going to say that. Exactly right. Just buy them in bulk where you can find them.
I just think that that the problem with this industry is that it's too cold as it is, and people are feeling too disconnected from their team leads. And I think that setting up a bunch of expansion teams that are 2, 3, 4, 5 hours away, I think it makes it feel more cold and more, makes people feel more disenchanted.
It just doesn't even match anything that you're doing. I mean, everything that you have created with your team, that love and that energy that you have, it would be hard to do that from that far away.
I agree. It's why we don't hire virtual assistants. It's why we don't, everyone that we hire is local and licensed. And so for me, quality is so much more important than quantity. And so that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build my business 100% on quality.
Talk to me today. What does your day look like? If somebody wants to, somebody calls up and says, "Hey, I want to sell a house," are you still going to go over and list their house?
No, not me personally. But so I have not taken a listing appointment in 3 months. My operations manager is the one who's ringing that. She's got an assistant. My closing team is ran by Leslie. She's licensed and also has a licensed assistant with her as well. I have 4 listing agents and I think 21 buyers agents. Some of my listing agents wear 2 hats. So if somebody calls me and they want to list their house, they're going to work with one of my fantastic listing agents, one of which is another, he's an Air Force veteran, has been my best friend for one of my best friends for 25 years. And he moved out here and he's probably going to clear that $100,000 mark in his first 10 months. So I think that people are less worried about meeting with me now. Now that I have made it about the homes team and I don't make it so much about David Serpa. I have made it so that I have created a bunch of individual celebrities around me so that people aren't they don't have to talk to me. They can talk to my team because there's a bunch of other people in the sun.
Right. So what does it look like if I'm Mr. Smith, I call you out of the blue and say, "Hey man, I want to sell my house." Walk me through how that looks. What's that process?
So you call up and you talk to Katie, and she routes your phone call out to either Zach, Jamie, Damien, Rob. Those are the main ones, and Davita, and then one of them will go on the listing appointment, get it booked, and then Katie will book the photography, book the video, and my agent will handle the negotiations, and then I get a check at some point down the road, and everybody got a check for doing what they do extraordinarily well. My closing team manager got a check, and my operations manager got a check, and both assistants got a check. So everyone's getting freaking paid, and everyone's getting paid more of it because we can all generate more business because I'm not being bogged down by going on listing appointments.
What does pre-marketing look like? From time I call to my listing appointment? Is somebody dropping off a pre-listing package? What listing presentation am I using? Who's training me as an agent? Who's training the agent that's going to be talking to me?
We're 100% about streamlining everything. We do not create extra work, and we don't create extra systems that we don't need in order to knock the listing appointment out the box. So, there's a really, really, really good chance we're going on a listing appointment, we're getting it because it's just what we do. So we go and they present a listing presentation that I personally built out on Prezi, and it has several videos of me in it. It has all of our marketing flyers, including our side-to-sides on our square footage versus everyone else that we've sold on a model match comp. So we line ourselves up side by side throughout the course of our listing presentation. I spend way too much time, or my team does spend way too much time with the clients because we are building relationships. We're not necessarily looking to get out the door in 20 minutes.
Okay, write a note down while you're there. I want to drop me a link to that listing presentation.
What's your video, Prezi?
Yeah, I got to duplicate your Prezi, right? All right, so that's awesome. Talk to me about the buyer's agents and their ability to list property. So I know you got 4 or 5. What if one of the other newer agents say, "Hey, this buyer I met at this open house also has a home to sell"? What is their role in the listing process?
So if they are a buyer's agent, which means that they have not made over $100,000 in a 12-month period, if they're a buyer's agent, that means that they bring that lead back to the team, and one of my listing agents goes out. So they will continue to work with that lead on the buying end, but they will have my listing agent go out, and my listing agent will go and go on the listing appointment, and then they'll work with them on the listing side while they work with them on the buying side.
Who picks the listing agent at that point?
So Zach Bach is our primary listing agent right now because he has not become a 6-figure agent yet, but because of his personality profile and the fact that I've known him over 20 years, he was a fantastic fit. He's the best representation of me personally. And so because he's a high D type person, that's just kind of where he fits. So Zach typically goes out, and then you've got Jamie, Davita, Rob, and Damien who can go out. So if they're working on the buying end, they are also working with their sellers. So they're the 4 of them are the only people that are authorized to do that. And then you've got Sylvester and Debbie who work with listings on the Spanish-speaking side.
Oh, very good. I didn't know you had that. All right, so let's talk specifically about Davita, because obviously I know her. I love
Yeah,
her. We spent a lot of time with her. She's just a sweetheart.
She's the
So,
bomb.
so
she's
with
great.
my team, everybody thinks they're special, right? I
Yeah.
should be able to list before selling 100 grand. I should be able to list this. I should be able to do this. I should get paid this. When you have a teammate that's so special like her, that's positive and represents the team well, and they come to you and say, "Hey, I want this, that, and the other." Does everybody have a different deal? Is it all? Probably, maybe I shouldn't be asking that, but is
No,
it?
and I'll answer it for you, brother. The only difference is my OGs who have been with me from, for the beginning for like over 2 years. And even them, they've had their deals adjusted a little bit. But the thing is, we put everybody on the same freaking deal. Everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody works with the same buyer's agent commission. So there's nothing special. Nobody gets anything special. You have to freaking earn it. So everything changes for somebody once they become a six-figure agent, once they earn that $100,000 in a 12-month period. And at that point, they can start taking their own listings at 60%, and they can start working with, they can bring on up to four people that they want to coach on a daily conference call and a once a month 30-minute one-on-one. So everything changes with them there. Now, Davita, I'm glad that you brought her up. She was patient. She knew that she had to earn it. She wanted to get there before she got there, but she also understood that she had to hit those numbers. And so I don't make exceptions for freaking anybody. I don't make an exception for $1 million month. If you hit 970,000, guess what? Better luck next time. And the thing is my team expects that of me. They expect that of each other, and they know they're not going to get it passed. They know that they're not going to get anything special. But that being said, every once in a while, like if I look at something like somebody's been working with a client for a long period of time, or, whatever, I'll give them something extra, or I'll give them an extra opportunity that they may not have not had otherwise. But it's because it's not expected that's why I do it.
Okay, so we just changed our whole compensation plan around to where if they reach a certain amount of deals per month, per quarter, then per year they get different splits. Do you guys have little perks and benefits like that too? So
No, we don't do it.
when you say $1 million a month, after $1 million a month, what do they get? A award, a better split,
Well, they get an award. So, like last month, I had $5 million months.
Okay.
I don't know any other team lead out there that has $5 million agents out there. So the thing is these people, they're not worried about getting a higher split. I had 5 people on my team make between $15,000 and $25,000 last month. They're okay. And the other thing is my splits are very generous as it is. I pay my buyer's agent 60%. Not a lot of people are paying their buyer's agent 60%.
Okay, you don't need to talk about numbers. Jeez, like my team. Don't even ask.
You cut that out.
Yeah, beep beep. Further.
All of a sudden, start cursing.
Yeah. F that.
Yeah.
Beep beep
So
beep beep.
I'm able to attract a lot of talent. I've got a lot of really great people around me, and I truly believe that my success is 100% tied to my team. And there was a time not too recently where I was having financial troubles, and I had to put my money where my mouth is. And I took out a personal loan to make payroll before I talked about touching anyone's splits. So you have to freaking bite down, and your team has to know that you'll do it and that you're in it with them. And I'll tell you flat out, my team felt like crap when they knew that I had to take out a loan to cover payroll. They felt like crap. They really did, because they know that I'm in it with them and that I will lose my house before I start adjusting their splits.
That's awesome. So the 27 people we have now, what are your, I know you said before you don't really know where you're going. Where would you like to see that number, say, by January? Are you just going to keep that number? Are you going to?
Yeah, I think we'll probably just stay at 27. I'm never really worried about adding. It's just kind of something that, quite honestly, and I know that it sounds like I'm probably constantly adding, but the thing is it's happened pretty organically. I probably get 2, 3, 4 people a week that contact me about joining my team, and depending on what time of year it is. And I just have to tell them all the same thing, that when we open it, I'll post it on Facebook and I'll let you know. A lot of people want to join our team. We're a fun group. We're kind of exclusive. We're kind of the cool kids. And so a lot of people want to be a part of it, and I get that. And I'll be excited to add when the time comes.
That's awesome. All right. So let's wrap it up here. Give me your number one piece of advice for somebody wanting to join a team, and then your number one piece of advice for somebody wanting to start a team.
Okay, so my number one piece of advice for anyone looking to either join or start a team or basically work in real estate at all is to understand who you are, understand what your design is, understand the things that you do that other people don't do easily. And that's what you should be doing. So if you're fantastic at working with buyers, that's where you should work. You should work with a team. If you need to be surrounded by people, surround yourself with good people. Interview with several other teams. A few years ago, you may have not had your pick of the litter with teams, but nowadays you can just about freaking interview with 5, 6, 7 teams and find out where you truly fit and get an idea for who they are before you do it. And of course, if you're looking for a good video on starting a team, I've got a really great lecture that I talked at that is on YouTube, and it's all about how to start a team, whether or not you should join a team, how to spot predatory teams, and also I have a video on what to do in your first year in real estate to make over $100,000. So lots of good content out there, just like you out there creating content, but you just
What's
do
your
way
YouTube
more
channel?
and way better.
People are
Just
going to
look
want
up
to see them. The Homes team.
The Homes team. There's only one.
Right.
It's the Homes team.
I subscribe to it. I love that dang thing.
Thank you, Big Dog.
Is that the video that was your birthday, or is that the one you did after that for building the team? When they brought the cake to you.
Oh, that was that's one of them. That's one of them. Yeah.
I always like that video. All right, cool, man. Dude, Julie, anything? Any last thoughts?
Yeah, no, speechless. Totally mind
blown away.
Yeah,
cool.
This was.
Oh, Julie.
This one I'll have to listen to a few times.
So Julie
when I
runs a
was
sync
here.
team herself. So a lot of the questions that I asked today were directly for her, whether she knew it or not.
No, I didn't. That's why I'm kind of like, oh, you guys, I'm tired. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Talk to Rob. He'll be better for you to talk to about that stuff.
Can we have Rob? Can we borrow him for a podcast?
I'm sure that he would love to talk to you guys.
We could make this part 1 and 2, right?
There you go.
Ooh.
Like that? Okay.
I'm in.
Yeah, I'm sure Rob would love to talk to you.
Okay, cool. All right, dude. Well, you know I love you, and I thank you. And again, thank you for
So
what you've
much.
done
I
for
love you guys.
our country. You're just amazing. Am I going to see you soon? Are you going to go to
Yes.
BSM? Or are you going to?
I might show up at BSM. I'm speaking at a Memorial Day celebration in Texas on the 9th. And so for Gold Star families. So I'm going to try to make it out because it's Club Wealth, brother. You got to show up and, I want to find the good people to interview. I need to track down Amanda Todd and track her down for a podcast. So.
Here, let's just text her while we're on this right now. Anyways. All right, brother. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
If you need anything, we're always here for you. And I think we killed episode number 35. Julie, what do you think?
And done. Awesome.
All right, you guys, thanks for the great
Guys already.
ratings. Oh, I love you, brother. All right, guys. Thanks. Tune in for episode 36 shortly. Make sure you guys subscribe, download, and give us some pretty darn good ratings. I think if I was a real estate agent and didn't know everything I knew, I think this is how I would find out what I need to know, because now I know this is the best podcast ever for real estate and having agents learn how to do some kick-ass things in life. Thanks, buddy. I'll see you later. All right, we're out. Furman, let's do this.